Alright guys, it's still Wednesday, 12th of January 2022, and we're at Fleetwood. This is a Fisherman's Friend factory.
This is a visit by UK Meet The Tyrants to the headquarters of a company called Lofthouse of Fleetwood Ltd. They are responsible for the Fisherman's Friend brand, amongst other things. In this video, I want to show an example of one successful method for dealing with rogue auditors. The security officer in this encounter does very well. The role of security is harder than it looks because a security officer has to make important judgments and decisions in a real-life, changing situation unfolding in front of him. The role requires tact, diplomacy, self-effacement, good humour, sound judgment, confidence and physical presence, a firm manner, and a solid grasp of the essentials of a relevant law. I think all of these qualities are in evidence from the security officer in this encounter, and he handles the auditor in a way that others can learn from. I'm not saying that what you will see here is the only way to handle auditors, or even the best way. It is one way among several that I will cover in future videos using examples from real auditors, both good and bad.
And as you can see guys, I've not crossed any barriers or walked through any gates or climbed over any fences.
Let's find the location. A search on Google Maps shows that he is on Maritime Street, which is in Fleetwood, Lancashire. A search on the National Street Gazetteer shows that Maritime Street is publicly maintained, so the first fundamental thing to note is that the auditor is stood on the public highway, which means he has the right to be where he is and nobody can dispute this. This is from Google Street View and shows another angle of the entrance to the plant, which is where he's now stood. And just for context, if we go back to Google Maps, we can see the buildings and areas owned by the company, which I have outlined in red, including the plant, offices and car parks and so on. The auditor is stood at the centre of a large building complex, albeit he is on the public highway. And here we see a view back down Maritime Street. The skyway that you can see there connecting the two buildings is part of Lofthouse of Fleetwood, and the car park immediately to the left is theirs as well. Now the security officer called Neil comes into the video. You can see Neil is dressed smartly, and the way he introduces himself is polite and civil, even charming. Although the auditor remains on the public highway, it is reasonable for security to make inquiries of somebody filming the premises.
Coffee if you want.
No, I'm just wondering if there's anything that I can help you with.
Yeah, you can get me a coffee.
No.
No.
Is there anything that you're taking that we can help you with?
Despite the auditor's sarcasm and childishness, Neil doesn't rise to it and maintains his professionalism.
Is there anything that you're taking that we can help you with?
A coffee?
No, that's not the answer. I'm talking about, is there anything that you need to know or anything that you'd like to have extended knowledge on?
Can you make a coffee?
I can make a coffee.
Will you make a coffee?
No.
Well, you're no good to me then.
Yeah? Okay. Okay. If you do need to come on the site, will you ask for permission?
Oh, I never do that.
No. Okay.
That's not what a pinnack inspection is all about.
That's not about a what?
Pinnack inspection.
And what's this? Educate me, I don't know, what is a pinnack?
Are you security here?
Yes.
Well, you should know.
Well, what is it?
I can't tell you. If I've got to tell you, then you're in the wrong job.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's just like with you having no ID on you. see it from there. I mean, that's a glance, what is it? I mean, I'm a slow reader.
Yeah, but it was written fast, that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's up to you, pal. What if you do need to come on the site, just let us know, will you? Okay.
Did you not understand what I just said about a pinnacle inspection?
No, because I never got a chance to actually read your documentation.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know what P-I-N inspection.
P-I-N? No. Pinnack.
Pinnack.
A Pinnack inspection on behalf of Pinnack Industries.
Pinnack Industries, I've never heard of it, so...
And the whole purpose of it is we don't announce we're coming.
Okay, right. So if I Google it, what would I actually put in for your expertise?
My expertise.
I'm just trying to have an understanding of what it's about, that's all.
What, you're asking for like a CV?
No, I'm just, listen.
No.
I'm not trying to be awkward. I just need to have an understanding of what P9 inspection is, so then I can actually Google it and see what it is.
P9?
P9, you just said P9.
Did I? Well, I meant to say Pinnack.
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 P-I-N-A-K. Pinnack.
P-I-N-A-C.
A-C, right, so
Industries.
I'll Google it and see what it is then.
Well, when I come back, you'll find out what it is.
Okay, mate. Yeah, no
All
worries.
right. What's your name?
My name's Neil.
Neil.
Yeah.
You've passed so far, Neil. You're doing a good job.
Thank you.
The auditor has moved back Maritime Street and is now at the spot indicated by the blue arrow here, which is the main public entrance to the office part of the complex. Again, this lady's approach to the auditor is polite and quite reasonably asks what he is doing.
Don't you know what I'm doing?
I'm asking you what you're doing.
Is it not obvious what I'm doing? No? Taking pictures.
Yeah, but why? You've just taken me in my office down there.
You in your office?
Yeah.
No. Which way? Which office?
It doesn't matter, but I've just seen you do it. I just want to know what you're doing.
Taking pictures.
For what purpose?
For money.
For money?
If I don't take the pictures I've been appointed to take, I don't get paid.
By who?
Who?
Who are you being paid by?
Well, that's a bit, I think that information's a bit above your pay grade.
Really?
Yeah.
Right, I don't think you should be doing this. You're not entitled to.
I am. I've been sent to get pictures.
From who?
3 points. First, the auditor remains on the public highway, so he is entitled to take photographs of the premises from that. Nobody can stop him doing so, just as nobody can stop Google Street View from capturing and publishing the images which I show in this video. But this comes with conditions. It is only as long as the auditor is not committing offences or infringing on the rights of others. Second, this lady says that the auditor was filming in her office window. The auditor's video did cut to this point. Here we see the part of the office building the auditor has just walked past, which he cut out of his video. The auditor denies he filmed in her window, but it's very possible that in fact he did to engineer this confrontation. If the auditor did film through an office window, I would say that is potentially an aggravated trespass, contrary to Section 68 of the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act 1994, notwithstanding that he may have been on the public highway when capturing the intrusive image. There is no journalistic or other justification that could excuse this behaviour or amount to an implied permission for it. It should be said that obviously any camera pointed in the direction of windows, including cameras used by Google Street View, could capture individuals within the building, but that is not a trespass or harassment or any sort of public order offence in those circumstances, because the image or photograph is captured incidentally or passively and for a lawful purpose. There may still be a possible civil action in such cases and a requirement that the image or photograph is edited or removed from a public platform, but there is no mischief in criminal law involved in such circumstances. I think we should also at this point take a look at the Data Protection Act 2018. Let's say that when pointing his camera into the office window, the auditor captured a digital image of this lady's face. That image is personal data, and we should note it has been obtained without consent, and in parentheses we should also note that potentially it has been obtained under circumstances that could be considered an aggravated trespass. Now, this auditor is engaged in publishing YouTube videos for income, therefore he is handling personal data for business purposes. The handling of data related to the company itself is not classed as personal data because this is not a close company, or even if it is, it's a large going concern with lots of staff. So that part of what the auditor is doing here does not fall under the Data Protection Act. However, to reiterate, it seems the auditor has filmed an individual in her office, and a digital recording of a person's face is classed as personal data that is protected under the Data Protection Act. I acknowledge and appreciate that the auditor has not, so far, published any images from that specific data capture. The only image of a lady's face he has published is the result of her decision to confront him. Even so, he has unlawfully obtained the personal data by filming in the office window, which is contrary to Section 170 of the Data Protection Act. Subsections 1 and 3 of Section 170 say that it is an offence to obtain personal data without the consent of a data controller and retain such data without the consent of a data controller. To emphasise, clearly no offence is committed under Section 170 by filming this lady from the public highway in the area where she is stood now, but I think a Section 170 offence was committed by filming her through the office window. The data controller under Section 170 would be the employer of the individual filmed, from whom consent should have been obtained by the auditor. Clearly consent would have been refused. The second issue under the Data Protection Act is that there is a requirement to register as a data controller and pay an annual fee to the Information Commissioner's Office under Regulation 2 of the Data Protection Charges and Information Regulations 2018, which you can see here. This auditor is processing personal data electronically as part of a business activity. I happen to know this auditor's real name and address, and I have checked on the website of the Information Commissioner's Office, and there is no registration for him, even though he is a data controller. This means he could be issued with a fine by the Information Commissioner's Office under powers in Part 6 of the Data Protection Act. The third point I'd like to make, without wishing to be critical of this lady, obviously I don't know her seniority within the company, is that she should not have confronted the auditor. She should instead have alerted security to his behaviour, and if possible, she could also have captured an image or photograph of him from whichever vantage point was available to her, and passed this to security, who could then have liaised with the police. By confronting him, she has fallen into the auditor's trap. He wants a confrontation for his videos, as that is what his audience likes, and it just encourages him. To explain further, using something from the video, at one point the auditor points his camera at the office, which you can see here. Clearly we can see into the interior of the offices and potentially see members of staff, but that is not in itself a trespass in any sense, and not in itself harassment or a public order offence, because the windows have not been covered, so there cannot be any intention on the part of a company that people would not incidentally see members of staff. It does not follow from this that there is a standing invitation for this auditor to go up to a window and intrusively film people through it, but that is what he did. He did it to attract attention and engineer the confrontation that we now see.
The client.
What client?
I can't tell you that.
Right, I'll get security down to
Have I got to wait here?
She's gone to alert security. That's really what she should have done instead of confronting the auditor herself. We can see him filming the window into the foyer. He shouldn't be doing that, but I don't have a great issue with it as it's not a sensitive area and it's unlikely to amount to a trespass.
Strange. Woman. Fisherman friend. And she's acting suspicious like that. Jesus, this is a world famous confectionery, guys. World famous. They probably get Japanese tourists coming around this factory taking pictures. And she said she's going to get security to see to me. Unbelievable. Anybody in there? Yeah. Oh. It's a nice reception, guys. It's all brass and everything.
Okay.
The hero of the hour now returns.
Brass and everything.
Okay. I think we've had a little bit of a complaint, mate. That this is actually private property, obviously public highway, not a problem. But now you're actually going into the area.
Into that public reception.
This is private, so
It's a public reception.
no, it's private on invitation by their choice.
I'm not convinced Neil is entirely right there. Maritime Street is a public highway. He seems to think just the road itself is public, but I think it is likely that the immediate area in front of the entrance doors is also part of the public highway, which would mean that the auditor is allowed to stand there. However, the building itself is private land, and the company can generally deny access to whomever they please: customers, clients, members of staff, suppliers, business visitors, and anyone else who may be reasonably expected to be there has an implied permission to access the entrance and walk in. In that limited sense, it is open to the public, but people who walk in must have a reason. People such as this auditor do not have a reason for being there, so do not have an implied permission and would be trespassing. The auditor did not actually ask for permission to enter before this encounter was reinitiated. That question was brought up by Neil, but since the auditor is stood outside the entrance and filming inside, it is reasonable that Neil should confront him.
So they'd rather you didn't carry on.
I've not been in.
No, you're actually photographing areas that they are not happy with. Okay, I appreciate you on a public highway, but in respect to taking photographs of what could be...
Am I at the Fisherman's Friend factory?
You are, yes.
The world famous, and I repeat, world famous confectionery.
Yeah.
You probably get Japanese tourists coming here to take pictures of this factory.
Again, Neil is doing this very well. He has acknowledged the auditor's legal rights, that the auditor is stood on the public highway. He's not raising his voice or trying to get into an argument with the auditor about what he may or may not allegedly have done, such as filming through office windows. He's just sticking to the basic point that the auditor cannot go further and enter the foyer.
They ask.
No, they don't.
Yeah, because sometimes, if I can just say, I said my name was Neil. What was your Christian name?
My Christian name?
Yes.
Lately, it's been that bastard with a camera.
Well, I wouldn't address you as that. But,
So, if this is such a famous,
well, normally they
world
say,
famous, why is that woman acting like I've been trying to rob the place?
No, because you've been going to her vehicle and she's
Her
not
vehicle?
getting concerned.
I've took pictures of the brass plaques,
Right.
and I was stood on the public road when I did it.
Okay.
And then this woman's
I'm
come
not
out
here to argue
saying,
you. I'm just asking you.
no, I'm explaining to you what's happened.
Okay.
because I don't know what she's told you.
Right.
But I was stood on the public road and I took pictures of those two brass plaques, and then I was going to take a picture of that one.
If you listen.
When this woman come out,
Yeah.
started demanding to know what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I explained as to I'm taking pictures.
Okay. Well, listen. When you're saying about the Chinese coming over,
Yeah.
because it's not just Chinese, there's other
Of
people
course.
coming over.
It's
And
world
we're
famous.
more than happy to have you incorporated into a picture of the Fisherman's Friend logo.
So there's no chance of
It's
getting a
not a
tour of the
problem.
factory now that she's so she shouldn't be working here. I hope she doesn't work in public relations. That one.
Neil isn't rising to the bait. He is remaining calm and composed, even friendly.
All I can say is that I sincerely appreciate if you don't really come onto the private area, which is here.
What does that do?
Notice how Neil put the request in a polite way.
What does that do?
What does what do?
That big red thing there.
That's just a form of glass of medicine bottle. But if you want to make an appointment or
Can I get a
anything like
picture of
that,
him?
you're more than welcome.
Can I get a
It's
picture of
entirely
him?
up to you. Okay.
Oh, peace, brother.
Yeah.
What's that section over there then?
Well, listen, this isn't an invitation for me giving you format of whatever. It's the working area of Lofthouse of Fleetwood. Okay, now you've taken your pictures. So I said my name was Neil. Your Christian name was what? What was your surname again? If you don't mind.
So you want my Christian name and my surname?
Well, it's up to you. It's just that I like to be.
You're all right. It
quite
is up to me.
professional. It's quite professional to actually address you properly.
But what you're saying, I'm professional then.
No, I'm saying it's quite professional to address you as properly.
To address me as what?
Listen, I don't. You obviously, whatever you're wanting to achieve here, to try and get some kind of installment, it ain't going to happen.
Neil has now been firm and made it clear, in a polite and civil manner, that the auditor will not be granted access to the site.
Okay, so all I'm going to say to you is, please don't enter any of the vicinities, okay? You're
Right.
welcome to go on the road and film whatever
So
you
I
want.
can't go into that public reception then?
You wouldn't be invited at the moment.
Well, it's a
Because they're
public
feeling
reception, isn't it?
Because they're feeling uncomfortable in what you're doing.
Why?
Normally people come in and they ask,
Oh, I'll go in and ask them.
no, I'm refusing entry.
On what grounds?
Because I'm saying so, and I'm security.
On what grounds are you refusing me entry into that public
I am
reception?
refusing entry on you entering this Lofthouse's company, okay?
You've just stated.
If you would like, you can make a phone call or email.
That's not
and
what
then
you
can-
said.
Right, I'm refusing you entry, yes.
On what grounds?
My grounds.
No, no, you
Security.
can't refuse me on your grounds. It has
No,
to be
I don't
something
want you
to do
coming
with
on.
the
I'm
security of the
simply
company.
clearly saying to you, I
It
didn't
has
want
to
you on
do with
Lofthouse
the
this
company
long.
policy.
Right,
And then
my
there'll have
policy-
to be a little bit of the law involved in it as well.
Right, well, I'm saying I'm preventing you from coming into here
Yes.
'Cause
On what
I'm-
grounds?
of my choice.
What have I done wrong?
Because you've not explained yourself properly.
What have I done wrong?
You've not explained yourself properly.
What have I done wrong?
At the moment, you may have not done anything wrong. I don't know what you want to achieve here, but I'm going to go in there. Please
So am
don't
I.
enter.
So am I.
No, you're not.
I am.
You're not.
I am.
You're
I'll
not.
wait till you go back to work and then I'll go in.
I'll wait here then.
Well, I can wait here all day.
Okay.
You have to finish at some point. I don't. I work for
Right.
myself.
Right, well, that's fine. Right. Well, if that's the case,
Yeah. Carry on. I'm listening.
I'd rather you not go onto this land.
What, like this, me?
Yeah, please. Do you mind leaving?
Neil is still doing very well, and he is right that he can absolutely refuse entry on behalf of the company. However, again, I'm not sure he's correct when he says that the pavement there is private land. I think even if the company maintains that part of the pavement, it's likely that it is still public highway.
Do you mind leaving?
Well, as I say, I can take the same picture from here as I can from here.
Yeah, but I'd rather you not enter the Lofthouse's premises, Jay. You've been asked nicely, so I don't know. But what are you trying to achieve?
What the auditor is trying to achieve is income on YouTube by filming confrontations. I think this confrontation was avoidable and could have been averted if the lady had not gone out to speak to the auditor at all. She should have alerted security instead, and had she done that, it's likely the auditor would have remained on the road outside and eventually left.
I'm not trying to achieve anything.
So what is it?
I was taking pictures when I was rudely interrupted by that woman.
She wouldn't have been rudely interrupting you. She probably felt concerns that somebody would photograph.
She did rudely interrupt me. She said, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
That's rude.
So is it not a right to?
She didn't wait till I finished taking my pictures.
Is it not?
I had to answer there and then.
Is it not a right for a person to inquire what exactly you're up to?
Is there a reception over there?
No.
Are you sure?
Why are you questioning me? If I've said no, that means no.
Because you don't seem to be up to date on the Pinnack Industries.
Well, I've never heard of Pinnack Industries.
But they've heard of you.
Well, all I'm saying to you, if you'd like to make...
So can I go in there then?
No, you can't go in there.
What's in there?
It's got nothing to do with you what's in there. You can't go in there.
Why?
There's no entrance for you.
But-
I'm forbidding you.
Hasn't
to go
got-
to- That is private.
There's no sign over there saying,
It's
Mr.
I'm
So-and-so,
telling you
you're not
don't need
allowed
the
in.
sign. I'm telling you it's private.
No, I believe there's a reception there.
No, listen, I'm asking you not to go over there.
I believe,
To that car.
I believe there's a
I'll
reception.
tell you what,
Look what that says.
do not enter. I'm telling you, do not enter, okay? Please be on your way. Please go on your way. Go.
Why are you getting irate?
No, I'm not getting irate, mate, because I don't know why you're wanting to be awkward about things.
The difficulty Neil has is that the auditor is stood on the public highway.
What's awkward about going into... They sell sweets in there.
I don't know. No, there's none for sale.
That reception is full of information about the company.
Right, I'll tell you what you do. You stay here.
What? Come on, make your mind up, Neil.
No, you stay
You're
here.
telling me to get off of there. You're telling me not to go on there. Now you're telling me to stay
here.
there.
No, you stay here because I'm obviously not getting any satisfaction whether the police will help me.
You're going to phone the
to-
police
I will phone the police.
for a man standing on a public highway
No,
with a dangerous camera.
I'm talking about you trying to gain entrance to where you're not being permitted.
I haven't.
Yes, you have.
When?
But
When did I do
you
that?
just started saying that you're going to go in there.
Saying I'm going to do something and actually doing it is two different things.
This auditor thinks he's clever and thinks he knows the law. Let's look at some law. What we see here is Section 5.1 of the Public Order Act 1986. It says that anyone using threatening or abusive words or behaviour or disorderly behaviour within the hearing or sight of a person likely to be caused harassment, alarm or distress thereby is committing an offence. Here we will focus on disorderly behaviour because I don't believe the video shows anything threatening or abusive. The first thing to note here is that there is no requirement for the prosecution to demonstrate intent in order to prove the offence. It is enough that the disorderly behaviour is likely to cause harassment, alarm or distress. There is no requirement that the offender should intend for it to cause such. The test for what is considered disorderly behaviour is quite broad and includes pestering and bothering people. I appreciate that in this situation, both the lady and the security officer, Neil, approached the auditor, not the other way round. And the auditor, let me stress again because this is important, is on the public highway, but the auditor is the one who is filming the company, and it was reasonable for both the lady and the security officer, Neil, to approach him, and he is being pestering and bothersome. There is no doubt in my mind that the auditor's behaviour is disorderly. The question would be whether this disorderly behaviour is likely to cause harassment, alarm or distress. I would think that filming through an office window meets that criteria, and persisting in standing outside the offices of the company, insisting to be admitted into the building without proper reason, and just generally being a pest and wasting time, is behaviour that could cause alarm and could be distressing. There is also the possibility that the auditor could be harassing the company. That would require more than one occasion of harassment. The auditor did walk down Maritime Street away from the premises, as we see in this next clip.
Thank you.
Wow, look at that old, like 50s style American hot rod there, guys. thought it was all one big factory, this. This is all different units down here, guys. Staff vehicles only, there's not a lot.
So it could be argued that there are two events involved in this incident, forming a course of conduct that is harassing of the company, opening the way for a civil action by the company to obtain a court order, known as an injunction, to the effect that this auditor is not to harass the company itself any further.
Well, that is a forward thought of threat. Right, I'm going to say, do not follow me into here, okay?
Right.
Right, just say that.
You sure?
Don't follow me into here.
But it's a public reception, Neil.
You're not invited.
And it's against the law to smoke.
You're not invited.
But how do you know that?
Because I'm telling you.
I might have an appointment.
Okay.
Mightn't I?
Right, just do not come. You haven't got an appointment.
How do you know? You don't even know who I am. You don't even know who I am.
Please.
Oh my God, he's ringing the police. It's unreal. He's loco.
Okay.
Now, I do hope that you're not going to take my picture, Neil.
No, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to divert.
You're going to what? Are you ringing the police?
Yeah.
Why? You got to think about men in uniform. Neil,
You're really getting silly.
did you get a knockback from the police force? Why would you ring the police for a man with a dangerous camera on a public road who's doing nothing wrong?
No.
Don't you see that as a waste of public resources?
No.
But the 999 is there for real emergencies.
Well,
You'll be drawing those police officers away from a real emergency.
that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Did you hear that, guys? Fisherman's Friend Security states that's okay. Some women could be getting attacked, a child could be getting run over, attacked by a dog, somebody could be having a heart attack, a pensioner could be getting robbed, and Neil at Fisherman's Friends in Fleetwood says that's okay to draw those police officers away from a real emergency.
It is you, the auditor, who is drawing police. I'm glad that Neil doesn't rise to the auditor's prodding and goading and remains professional.
Neil, you need to brush up on the law, mate. You do?
Okay.
I think it's the auditor who needs to brush up on the law. So far we have 3 different criminal offences committed by the auditor in the space of aggravated trespass, contrary to section 68 of the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act 1994. Unlawfully obtaining personal data without the consent of a data controller, contrary to section 170 of the Data Protection Act 2018. And disorderly behaviour likely to cause harassment, alarm or distress, contrary to section 5 of the Public Order Act 1986. We also have a regulatory breach in that the auditor has failed to register with the Information Commissioner's Office as a data controller, contrary to Regulation 2 of the Data Protection Information and Charges Regulations 2018. And we have civil harassment of the company itself. I wonder what else he'll do before we finish.
Neil, you need to brush up on the law, mate. You do?
Have you finished?
Have I finished?
Yeah.
I hadn't started anything. To finish anything.
Okay.
The squeaky noise is the auditor's way of mocking the person he is speaking to. He is basically mocking a perfectly civil and polite security man who is just doing his job and is a credit to his employer in every way, having treated this rude and disrespectful auditor with courtesy and respect.
Right. I'm going to make a call, so I'd rather you didn't enter any of our workers' areas, okay?
Right.
Okay. You're not invited, okay?
It's a public reception, full of information.
A public reception. That is invitation to who I decide. You're not invited.
Oh no, you're being a bit tyrannical there, Neil.
Listen, whatever your problem is.
My problem? I haven't got a problem, Neil. I'm just coming into reception.
I'm not saying anything. We'll jump forward to where the encounter resumes, but before we get there, I want to show you what the auditor does now. He goes back to walking around the complex and now goes out to the main road, which is Cops Road, as you can see on the map here. By walking away from the complex and then returning, arguably any further interaction with the company is another event, which could therefore reinforce a legal case that he is harassing the company itself. I don't believe it could be argued that he is harassing anyone criminally, because Neil is a security officer and there would be an expectation that this sort of encounter is part of his duties. When the auditor returns to the company, he does walk into the foyer to which he was earlier denied access by Neil.
Hello, love.
You're not allowed to film in here.
I'm not filming.
You are filming.
Oh no, I was taking pictures with that earlier. Am I allowed to take a leaflet? Public information leaflet?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've come in for.
That's all right then.
What does that do?
It's just coloured water.
It's not for anything in particular, no?
No, that's just coloured water.
Oh, that'll be the same as that one then, is it? So I'll just do the same thing.
Okay.
See you later, folks. Bye. Bye. Oh, Neil.
Listen, this is COVID restricted.
Yeah, but I'm not. A word of advice, yeah? Are you head of security?
I have no reason to talk to you.
Oh, I was just going to give you some information about your gate at the back. Yeah, it's very, very slow. And he's looking at. I stood and filmed the whole thing. It took about 3 to 4 minutes to close. You know, and in that time somebody can run in. In fact, at the speed it was going, somebody could just walk in, pick something up and walk back out before it closes. So it needs looking at, yeah? And you, Neil.
If the auditor was denied access and he has ignored this and walked in and filmed, that again is an aggravated trespass, contrary to Section 68 of the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act 1994.
Bye-bye. Smile. Neil, are you following me?
Pardon?
Are you following me?
No, I've done out everywhere.
What's up with these people in that room there? They're all peeping out of the blinds.
Oh, really? I think your site's quite interesting, actually.
This site, I bet it is.
Your site, yeah.
My site.
The site like that, you said it is Impact, is it?
Impact.
Impact, yeah, it's quite interesting.
Pinnack.
Pinnack, that's it. Pinnack. You know, it's so... I even forgot.
What? But you might not have been on the right...
You go around in places and try and basically see the response, but I think it's interesting. I might even have a watch of it. Good luck with it.
Good luck with it. Do I need good luck with it? What do I need good luck with, Neil?
I like what Neil did there, more or less insulting the auditor, but in a backhanded way, turning the auditor's passive aggressiveness around on him.
Neil, are you putting the kettle on or what?
I'll give you 10 out of 10 for your tea.
I've got a coffee at some bigger companies than this. FedEx at Leyland. They gave me a coffee.
I'll tell you what I could actually do if you wanted to. If we cross the tram lines,
They gave me a coffee.
I'll tell you what I could actually do if you wanted to. If we cross the tram lines, down there's a little cafe. Get yourself a coffee there. How's that?
But what? Fisherman's friend aren't nice to people.
We are, I hope we are. We try and be professional.
But I'm doing exactly what I've done now with FedEx and the manager there,
Yeah.
second in command,
Yes.
personally,
Okay.
went back into...
Neil is more than a match for the auditor here, in my opinion.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. You give me your address, and if I'm ever short, I'll come to you knocking on your door and I'll say, can I have a coffee? And that'll make you look good.
And you know what I'll say? How many sugars, Neil?
Well done. You know, I can see the halo shining right now.
It's no big effort to give a man a coffee.
Yeah, no. You crack on and I've got some things to do. Enjoy the rest of the day.
So you're not putting the kettle on then? Is the boss in? I'll ask the boss. I'll go back to reception and ask the boss.
There is no reason for the auditor to be bothering the company like this. He has no proper business at the company. He just wants to get a rise out of somebody to engineer a confrontation for his viewers to watch. Now Neil is joined by someone who looks like he may be a manager from the company.
His mouth. I'm going to see the boss to see if I can get coffee. Eh?
You're not invited.
I wasn't invited before, but public reception.
Just stay. Please, carry on. I know you're trying to get good hits on your little YouTube channel. I know which one it's all about, but you aren't going to get any good ones here.
Is this another security guard? Is this your boss?
No.
So what's the boss's name? Or have I got to Google it?
You need to. But honestly, I'm preventing you from going into reception again.
All right, Neil.
Yes, I'm very well.
Can I help you?
Oh, you're speaking to me?
Yes.
Coffee.
Sorry?
I wouldn't say no to a coffee.
I've just told him that there's a little cafe down there and he's more than welcome to go by himself.
Well, that's not very nice, that.
I know.
FedEx manager gave me a coffee.
Really?
Yeah.
And it made him really look good, isn't it?
If there is any comedic value in repeatedly asking random strangers for coffee, I think it's wearing thin now.
He made the company look good.
Yeah. Let's see that card again that you was a split second.
What?
Like I said, we found you on YouTube.
You'll find me on YouTube.
No, we found you on YouTube, your little place of research, if you will.
My little place of research.
Yeah.
Neil, you're being very derogatory. It's unnecessary.
What's the problem?
Neil is the real star of this, I think.
Necessary.
What's the problem?
Who are you, sir?
Sorry?
Who are you?
He doesn't need to. I'm saying he's a colleague of mine.
What's the matter? What's the issue? Can I help? Can I help you?
Coffee.
I'm not offering you coffee. Can I help
Why?
you?
Why wouldn't you give a man a coffee?
Sorry?
Why wouldn't you give a man a coffee?
I didn't offer you
FedEx
coffee.
did.
So we're not FedEx.
Clearly.
I'm a bit confused.
I thought Fisherman Friend would be nicer than FedEx,
Okay.
but clearly not.
This is very strange.
Strange. No. Are you the one that was peeping out of the blinds? You are. You look like a blind peeper, especially in them
Can we help you
shoes.
with anything else?
You've obtained your little leaflet things, your little pamphlets, what you've got.
Right.
Is there anything else that we can help you with?
You'll notice that, except for one comment giving the opinion that he is very strange, the auditor is being treated with respect. More respect than he deserves, really.
Yeah, I'd like to know who this gentleman is.
Well, I don't need to introduce anybody.
He could speak for himself.
Yeah, he's probably just starting work, he could be anybody, couldn't he?
I don't understand. What's the issue?
Is that your Lexus?
Is it my Lexus?
Yeah, there, behind you.
No.
So you're not the boss?
Am I the boss?
Yeah. Well, you're dressed very smart.
Thank you.
Collar and tie and all that.
Thank you.
Are you the boss?
No.
Do you want to be the boss? Would you like to be the boss?
I don't know why you're asking me all these questions.
Do you have the authority to get me a coffee?
Do I have the authority to get your coffee?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Do you work for the company?
Sorry?
Do you work for the
I'll
company?
tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go inside here.
Yeah.
Okay. And all I'm asking you and requesting you, private property, do not enter. Okay. Don't try and force your entry
Neil,
in any other
you tried to
areas.
tell me that before, and
Yes.
look what happened.
And what happened?
I went in. Do you know why I went in?
Well,
Because it's a public reception.
And by going in, you were committing an aggravated trespass.
Look up section 33.
Very strange.
that's all right.
You remember section 33, and you remember Criminal Justice Act 1972.
Thank you.
Between the two of you, you'll get there.
Thank you.
Google it.
You have a nice afternoon.
Yeah, you have a nice afternoon.
Google it.
Right. So now he's raising section 33 of the Criminal Justice Act 1972. Let's take a look at section 33. What it actually says is this. For the definition of public place in section 9.1 of the Public Order Act 1936, there shall be substituted, public place includes any highway or other premises or place to which at the material time the public have or are permitted access, whether on payment or otherwise. Let's now look at section 9.1 of the Public Order Act 1936. we can see straight away that it is an interpretation clause for that act. So let's look at the act itself and see what it's about. Section 1 of the 1936 Act prohibits the wearing of political uniforms in public meetings. Section 2 of the 1936 Act prohibits quasi-military organisations. For context, the 1936 Act was passed amidst the rise of the British Union of Fascists and was intended to control movements like that by effectively banning political uniforms and paramilitary organisations. That's why a definition of public place was needed for the interpretation of that Act. The interpretation has no general applicability, and the auditor is just talking nonsense. The foyer he entered earlier is private premises, and I repeat, he committed an aggravated trespass by entering.
Where are you going on then?
Right. So you're not the boss?
Have a nice
You're not the
afternoon.
organ grinder?
Have a nice afternoon.
You must be one of the monkeys then.
In conclusion, like most auditors, this auditor is not nearly as knowledgeable or clever as he thinks he is. I would say Neil, the security man, is cleverer and played the auditor throughout. The auditor thought he was clever by returning to the entrance and entering the foyer after Neil had gone, but by doing so he was committing a further aggravated trespass. By filming through office windows, the auditor again committed an aggravated trespass and also committed an offence under Section 170 of the Data Protection Act. By repeatedly pestering the security man and the company, the auditor committed an offence under Section 5 of the Public Order Act. The auditor harassed the company, and his YouTube business is not compliant with data protection law, specifically with the requirement to register in Regulation 2 of the 2018 Data Protection Regulations. Neil handled the incident brilliantly throughout, in my opinion. Right from the start, he cleverly asked the auditor if there was any way the company could help, such as by providing information. Instead of being bossy or aggressive with the auditor, Neil sought to manage him. This blunted the auditor's effectiveness and averted a drama-fueled confrontation early on. A confrontation only occurred later in the video after one of the staff had gone out to the auditor. It would have been better if she had left the matter with security. Neil could then have continued to monitor the auditor while he was on Maritime Street until he eventually got bored and left. Instead, Neil was presumably asked to confront the auditor with the lady's complaint, and this then created the confrontation that the auditor craved and wasted a lot of company time on somebody who is just out to wind people up. Had the staff member not chosen to confront the auditor in the first place and instead left it to security, the auditor would have been left with little or nothing to put in a YouTube video. The lesson for the company to learn from this is that auditors look for confrontation and drama. Managing auditors in the way that Neil did initially is an effective option for dealing with the problem and preferable to confrontation. It's not the only option. Neil could have ignored him from the beginning, but to be fair, if the auditor was conspicuously filming the premises, it was reasonable for Neil to approach him.